All right, family. Peace and blessings. It's your brother, Omni Manashi, also known as Omni Omnis, man. You already know. It's Black News 720, Omnivision EDU, and we coming live and direct. And you might see me holding the mobile phone in one hand, and then I'm on the laptop with the other hand. But anyway, I'm streaming live on YouTube, and I'm streaming live on Facebook as well. So like I said, love and light to the family, to everybody that's in the building. If you would like to make a donation to support the Omnivision EDU Black News 720 movement, make sure to make a donation at Cash App, $OMNISNATURA 360 LLC family. All right. PayPal is PayPal, Lacey Jones 01. All right, to show your support for more content. Now, today, I just wanted to build, we do Sunday soul sessions on Sundays, and it's technically the day of the sun, the day of the divine cosmic light, the eternal cosmic light, family, which is the bringer of life, right? When plants are exposed to light, they go through thermochemical processes, right? That causes them to develop, to grow, which then promotes vegetation, right, for animals, and for a whole bio and ecological system to happen and to take place and to occur. And so the light is divine. The light does bring life, and I'm more than happy to build with y'all on today. All right, so love and light again, peace and blessings. All right, so anyway, I wanted to build family because I thought it was kind of ironic. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this guy named David Rothschild. So I'm gonna share my screen because I went on my one of my social media platforms, the one that's on TikTok, that's the Omnivision EDU, and I went in my notifications. And I seen this guy, and I was trying to understand the connection and the relativity between me and him. Now, I don't have the most followers on TikTok, but I got a little something going on over there for you to be able to tell who I am and what I do. All right, so let me share my screen. 1 second, family. Like I said, I'm recording in 2 different ways. So I want to have to hold it the whole time. So y'all can see me on Facebook too. Love and light to the family. We in the house. You already know. All right, 1 second, family. Share my screen. David Rothschild. Now, David Rothschild is an environmentalist. He's from the Rothschild banking family. Right, so my screen is being shared so you guys can see it. David Mayer D. Rothschild. This is the guy that I seen in my notifications. Now, we weren't friends and had no affiliation. So I was just wondering how did he stumble upon my profile? And then I go to his profile to see, is this someone just using the Rothschild name? Who is this? And then when I go to the profile, it's the actual legitimate guy. All right, so it's David Mayer D. Rothschild. He's one of the youngest members of the Rothschild family, and they were established in the 1800s during, the beginning of colonialism in America, and, just like time in Europe where Europe was flourishing and becoming very dominant. And so anyway, David D. Mayer Rothschild, born August 25th, 1978, is a British environmentalist, right? Film producer and a member of the Rothschild family. Now, it was estimated that the Rothschild family was worth to be estimated around, I think it was $108 billion independently, privately, as a family. All right. And I think that was in, it might have been in euros. I'm not for sure. But they're one of the richest families in the world. So let me share my screen, share this tab. All right. So we're on a new tab. And so right here, family, when you go to Google, say Rothschilds are a European family of German Jewish origin who established a global banking and finance dynasty that rose to prominence in the late 18th and 19th centuries. All right. Now, he has a sister named Megan Rothschild. So we'll go ahead and look her up right quick while I'm on here. Now, what I know about her that I felt that stood out is that she awareness. All right. Around like 2012, 14, 15, 16 up in there. I think she still does it. But it's a big part of global warming, climate change, and where the earth is heading, regardless if you get another paycheck or not. I know a lot of people are inside of the fishbowl. But outside of the fishbowl, there's a whole universe, a whole world out there. And it's living. The earth is a living being. It's growing, it's developing, it's evolving, and it doesn't stop for human affairs. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Megan Rothschild, so we can see who she is. So I share my screen so you guys can see it. Megan Rothschild. This is she's a member of the royal family as well. And it says right here in 2008, became a board member of Impact Melanoma, right? Helped to launch Impact Melanomas. Your skin is in program. Your skin is in program to keep teens out of tanning beds before prom and such and such. So tanning beds is a way that individuals can develop melanoma from radiation, because that's the problem. Their skin cannot process radiation at the levels of people who are dark pigmented. And so if you're in the sun, if you're in the tanning bed, those are higher risk for melanoma skin cancer. As the skin, the tissue cannot successfully convert the thermochemical reaction of radiation into, chemical tissues like plants. Plants, they use the same process all the time. And so I thought that was interesting. So his sister spreading melanoma awareness for people who don't have a lot of, high levels of melanin. Those people would be more susceptible and more affected to a warming earth. That's why they call it global warming. So the temperatures are rising, and they got something to do with what's going on. And so, Megan Rothschild, you guys can look her up on your own time. But I'm gonna go back. So we talked about the Rothschilds, and so another thing that I thought was interesting is that neuropathic medicine is one of the interests. Let me share the screen. Neuropathic medicine, or neuropathy, is a health care system that focuses on prevention and body self-healing abilities using natural therapies. Neuropathic doctors, NDs, combine traditional knowledge with current health research, right? And so this is one of the interests of David Rothschild. This is one of the things that he's into. He's an environmentalist, and he does with neuropathy and neuropathic medicine. And so people know me as Omni Amanashi, also known as Omni Omnis, aka the nature god. I talk about historical literacy and scientific literacy as it relates to nature and the native indigenous peoples. All right. There's a connection between being native and being indigenous, right? And natural science. So the more you know about who you are and where you are, because we are the natural people, indigenous native people of the planet Earth. That's why we are encoded biologically, genetically in melanin, in the carbon-based substance, same substance that occurs in meteorites. All right. Color is chemical composition. All right. And so it's a thermochemical effect that expresses who we are and our connection to nature and the universe, family. And so I thought this was interesting. So he shares an interest in natural medicine, right? And then I teach natural science and I deal with natural medicine as well. And so that's the common interest that we have. So I believe David Rothschild may be a rogue family member who was born to an asshole, a group of entities, because there's been a lot of bad that's been done under that name as well. They had something to do with the Nazis and all that, and this whole colonial thing with, pretty much marginalizing and capitalizing off, of third world countries who have, more abundance and resources. And so, like I said, money is monetary gain system. It represents promissory note, which is just, it's a mechanism of credit. It's not really like you have the resources. You're just being accredited as if you have them, And then you have nations share this screen. You have nations who have the resources and they're not being accredited. And so that's the thing. Colonialism and the capitalism can be funny. And we go over the nature definition. What does it mean to be natural? Nature is the phenomenon of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscape, and other features and products of the earth, as opposed to human or human creations. All right? The basic inherent features of something, especially when seen as the characteristics of it. And so, like I said, nature is very relevant because it's a planet, is a living entity in which humans, animals, plants, microbials, and other life forms coexist. Whether you go to work or not, if something is going on, natural disaster, work is over. Man has its interests, but then nature has its own interests. And so that's what I feel is interesting. But yeah, ran into the profile of David Mayer D. Rothschild. I'm like, who is this person trying to impersonate a Rothschild? That's weird. And so anyway, right now, let me go ahead and look it up right quick. We got major space weather going on right now. And I was chopping it up with some people, and I was trying to put them on game to how space weather correlates to Earth's atmospheric weather. And so we watch the news and we see we just had an earthquake going on. We had some tornadoes, and I think it was like Kansas somewhere. But there's a lot of seismic activity going on the planet right now. Let me see. Live science. Hold on right quick. So we have, like I said, there's a correlation between the heavens and the earth, space, and what's going on, down here where we are, family. And so, yeah, whenever the sun gets excited and the energy is fluctuating and is generating more energy than it normally does, they call them solar cycles. In solar cycle 25 right now, we just had a major flare in May, and I think it was an X1 flare. And that's a very large, a very powerful, very impactful category of solar flare. The solar flares are explosions of plasma on the sun. So you know how they say twinkle, twinkle, little star to kids? When stars twinkle, they're actually causing ejections of plasma, explosions of plasma, and they call them solar flares. And so the star is a living entity, just as the earth is a living entity. It evolves. It is born at a certain point in time and space, and it evolves, meaning it changes over time. And so these sunspots, solar flares, is just the sun going through its natural phases of life as it's creating chemical elements, going through the process of nuclear fusion, creating heavier and heavier elements. Like I said, hydrogen is atomic number one electron, one proton. Helium, atomic number two, 2 electrons, 2 protons. Lithium, 3 electrons, 3 protons. So it's a continuum of the sun fusing molecules, fusing particles together to create heavier and heavier, more dense elements, even as we get into metals. All right. And so it's a natural process that the sun goes through, where these explosions of plasma, just like a man being intimate with a woman, getting excited, and then there's a release of energy. Okay. And the sun creates meteorites, asteroids, other space particles, fragments that exist, as well as the earth and other planetary bodies. Is a whole process, family. Anyway, right now the sun is very excited, and people try to say it in religion, we got different beliefs or whatnot. But you know how they say the Son of God. I look at it. Let me go back to my regular screen. It's really the Son of God, family. All right. The S-U-N, not the S-O-N. In the beginning, there was darkness, and God said, let there be what? Let there be light. What is the first source of natural light? Starlight, family. The first light that any human being has ever seen, has ever witnessed, is starlight. All right. And so, yeah, I'm black. Yeah, I have dreads. Yeah, I have a beard. And I still love science. I still love learning about how and why things work. All right. And so, like I said, right now we're double streaming. We're streaming on YouTube, and we're streaming on Facebook Live at the same time. I promised everybody I would do a live. I make little posts here and there about what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling at the time, whatever the universe inspires me to say, whatever the universe inspires me to talk about, family. And so right now, I just feel like it's important for people to focus on the global warming issue. It was a Paris Agreement that was signed in 2015 by 192 nations. All right. Like I said, they noticed that since the 1950s, that the overall global temperature has been rising, and it's not stopping, family. And so they call it global warming. And the weather have been kind of strange. Now, I don't know. It's telling me in the app your browser has lost connection to your screen share audio. So I don't know what's going on with that, family. Can y'all hear me? Try sharing your screen again. Restart your browser if this continues to be a problem. Hold on right fast. I hope they ain't trying to mess up the bill, family. 1 second. Yeah, I'm like, what David Rothschild got to do with me? Like, how could you even find my profile, bro? Like, I know I be on conscious information and all that. There's so many other people out here on social media with their own platform talking about what they want to talk about. But I just don't know how the guy found me. But I mean, it's all good. It seems like he's on the right side. Like I said, he's an environmentalist. That's one thing that's important. And then he's dealing with the neuropathic medicine. And that's kind of like alternative medicine, more so in the holistic healing. So it's like, damn, he with the Rothschild, but he's not like them. His interest is in the earth and in, more so naturalism. And so I had to go check them out, see what they had going on. Can y'all hear me, family, on the tube? I'm gonna go to the comments and see what's going on. Let me know. Put one in the chat. One in the chat if you can hear. I can hear you. Okay, for sure. Peace, love, and light. The champs girl. Ashe Queen, I see you in the building. Much love. Appreciate y'all for showing your support. We just here building about this David Meyer Rothschild and this whole banking family thing they got going on, and trying to see if David is a good guy. Because like I said, he following me, so I got to follow him. I got to see what he got going on. Like I said, him and his sister, they promoting different things. Megan, she's focusing on skin care. You feel me? Like melanoma is a skin cancer. You can hear it in the word melanin, in the word melanoma. And so people with low levels of melanin sometimes develop cancer from exposure to high radiation levels when it comes to being in sunlight exposure. All right. And so one of the richest banking families in the world feels that it's important to pay attention to these subject matters. All right. The world is warming, the global temperatures are rising, and there's more radiation than normal. All right. So they have skin cancer awareness programs by Megan Rothschild. So yeah, I'm paying attention the same way they paying attention. So live science, we just got a strong flare the other day. I know I talked about it, but let me show you. All right. So here we go. Live science right here. The sun just sped out the strongest solar flare of 2025. And more could be headed towards Earth. This was published May 15, 2025, right? And the sun is our whole star, you know. This is where all the fuel, all the energy is coming from. Without the engine, that car not doing nothing. The engine is what's generating all the functions in the car. Jess Thompson, all right? It says right here, the sun has released over the past few days, resulting in radio blackouts around the world. Now, I said this to some individuals at work, and we was just chopping it up about some knowledge, and I guess they kind of got spooked out, but that wasn't really my main intention. You know what I'm saying? I was just chopping it up, building about knowledge, and the computer wasn't working because we have to use computers to process devices, right? And so the guy like, damn, this computer moving slow as hell. What's going on? I'm like, bro, I don't know. What I'm saying? Because, you know, family, I ain't no regular person just in the, you know what I'm saying, in the workplace. Like, I know some stuff. So I'm like, bro, I might know what it is. And so when I got a chance to go on my break, I did a little bit of research, and I went to Chat GPT, right? And I put in recent global blackouts, right? Because I want to see if this solar storm correlates to the blackouts that are happening. Now, the whole Y2K theory is dealing with the same concept: space weather, high levels of radiation affecting modern technology. Then we had the Carrington event in the 1850s, and it blew out the power grids, family. And so scientists believe that we're headed in a phase of the Earth's history, right, and the sun's history, where we're going to be receiving and be exposed to much more higher levels of radiation and solar flares and sunspots. So if you want to look it up on your own time, you can do that, family. But this is a NASA image, you know, of the corona mass ejection. So you can see right here where the plasma filaments are building up. right? And like I said, they're released from the sun, family. Just like a man being intimate with a woman, you get really excited and you release your material. That's what the sun does when it creates different things. All right, that's where the matter is coming from. This is where the material is coming from. This is where the elements are coming from. And so this process can be both positive and negative in a way because it's creating new things, but at the same time, it's disrupting everything that was prior to that. You know what I'm saying? It's creating newness. And so that's what I believe is interesting about it. But like I said, we just had one recently. And then here's what it says on Tuesday, May 13th, a sunspot on the sun's surface named AR4 4086 exploded, releasing X1.2 class solar flare, part of the most powerful category of flare. Then during earlier hours on Wednesday, May 14th, another sunspot named AR4 4087 spat out a M5.3 flare, followed by even more powerful X2.7 flare. So you see, it's up and down, family. Like the sun turned up. Like, I believe that the return of Christ is the return of the sun. You know, they call the Son of God the S-O-N instead of the S-U-N. But in, the Kemetic spiritual system, you see in the hieroglyphics that they have images of the sun. Like they're showing the sun as clear as day in these ancient pictograms, what they call them hieroglyphics. And so I believe that the ancient people knew that this sun is very important to what we experience on Earth. So let me look up the Carrington event right quick so you guys can see. We had it in the 1800s, and the modern scientists are expecting this to happen again. So your brother Ami, also known as the nature guy, I believe that the Y2K theory is dealing with modern humans observing the evolution of the sun and noticing that the sun is becoming more explosive. The sun is becoming more energetic. The sun is awakening, right? When the sun awakens, then the consciousness of humans, we awake, we grow, we evolve, we expand, because the sun is leading us in our consciousness. When the sun goes asleep, right? Because there's certain phases, like we got the golden age, the dark ages, there's different times, the bronze age, there's different levels of consciousness, and that's based on what the sun is doing at that particular time frame, if that makes any sense. So if you could try to bear with me, if you replace the concept of the S-O-N with the S-U-N, the Son of God, family. That's what's going on, family. And the sun, that's what's going to change everything. So let me go to the Carrington event so you guys can see, and I'll share my screen. Yeah, the sun is not playing, family. All right, share this tab. All right, so we in the tab. The Carrington event, the most intense geomagnetic storm ever recorded, right? Occurred on September 1st through the 2nd in 1859. And look, that was right. And look, and I look at synchronicities. I believe the synchronicity of what's going on in space determines what's going on the Earth with human affairs and politics and everything. What was interesting is that we had the Emancipation Proclamation was 1856? I think it was 1856. That's when the slaves were so-called, released from slavery, and they're supposed to have abolished slavery. So this Carrington event occurred around that time. There was a massive reaction from the sun, a massive explosion. It said it was caused by a massive solar flare that released a surge of charged particles into space, impacting Earth's magnetic field. This event caused widespread disruptions, including bright auroras seen far south of their usual locations and damage the telegraph systems. So one of the things that's important is that it's like radio broadcasting, right? You know what I'm saying? Any type of form of radio waves, GPS, navigation, satellites, all of these things can be disrupted by more powerful levels of radiation that comes from the sun, right? And so it's like an overload on the lesser system, you know, an outside force impacting or imposing itself on a weaker system. And so anyway, that's issues for modern humans when it comes to technology. And so what we could be looking at is a potential power grid failure. All right, blackouts from extreme space weather. And so I believe the rise and fall of every civilization is based on the same concept. When the sun awakens, you know what I'm saying, there's going to be major changes, family. It's going to disrupt what already was. Like, that's how you create new life, you know? And so the sun is creating new life. But yeah, the Carrington event happened 1859, right after the Emancipation Proclamation. I think it was 1856, if I'm not mistaken. That's why everybody celebrate the Juneteenth, ain't it? I think, yeah, the Emancipation Proclamation. I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's funny that, you know, the sun had something going on now, so it's back active. And so, like I said, just replace the sun with the sun, family. S-U-N. How could it not be that, though? When you had ancient human beings believing that. Ancient human beings building structures that's lasting thousands of years. I'm like, damn, maybe we might have got it wrong, family. We might have overlooked something. For real. All right. 1 second. Give me 1 second, family. All right. But yeah, family, y'all let me know what y'all think about the bill. Like I said, David Rothschild, he's one of the newer members of one of the richest royal banking families who were part of establishing colonialism. You feel me? So as far as colonialism is concerned, this is one of the founders of capitalistic, game. You know what I'm saying? They're one of the richest families ever, but they got some rogue members who have interest in preserving their own people, I believe, because melanoma does not affect people of African descent as it affects other groups. And so that's one thing. So they're trying to preserve their own people. I believe that's most definitely a part of the agenda, spreading awareness to people who don't have a rich melanin pigment, who may be more, susceptible to radiation exposure. And then with my man, he's, like I said, he's doing the natural thing, the neuropathic medicine. That's dealing with more of a holistic medicine. And so that's dope. I'm with that. I think I rock with David. But I don't know. I'm watching him, family. I don't know how, what he on, but I know he's from the Rothschild. So, his family off the chain. They done offed a lot of heads over time, man. That's the Jews, family. They made Nick Cannon apologize. He couldn't even come back on TV till he apologized. He took the show down and everything. We ain't even seen the Dr. Sabi documentary since. They were talking about the Dr. Sabi documentary. Nip had it going on, and then after Nip died, Nick Cannon was supposed to have picked it up. You know what I'm saying? But when he got into it with the Jews making the anti-Semitic comments, man, they put the pressure on it. And once he apologized, they gave him the show back. And we didn't hear nothing else out of him since. So I don't know what to tell you, family. But this is a time of enlightenment. It's a new age. I don't believe in the end of the world like the Bible teach. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the Mayans were saying. It's a new age. You feel me? Not the end of the world. 2012 marked a significant point in space-time and in the evolution of the Earth's history and in the evolution of our solar system. where there would be major, climatic and global changes. And that's what we see. And it's just like a woman having a baby. It's not instantaneous. It's a process. And that's what we see happening with the changes on the earth. The process is in the making. The Mayans were not wrong. You feel me? They was on point with their astrology. They was telling you, this ain't the end of the world. No, this marks a specific, this marks an intricate point in space-time where you will begin to see major climatic and global changes, because they never said the end of the world. That was the Bible that teach that. The Mayans, they deal with astrology, family. These are people who study the earth, who study nature, who study the stars. And so I believe them. I believe they had some truth to what they was speaking about. You just got to pay attention, family. Me and my brother, the Gemini, he would tell me, "Oh, bro, the Mayans was wrong, bro. They said the end of the world. They ain't teaching it right, bro. They ain't teaching it right. They were telling you to be aware, watch, pay attention. This is an intricate time." So that's that's my little 1-2 cent. Peace and blessings to the family that's in the house. Like I said, love and light. Salute to the guys and to the goddesses of this universe, of the planet Earth, planet Key. You are the light. You are solidified biochemical mass of the sun, children of the sun. And that's why we are melanated. We are ordained. We are anointed with the light, by the light. All right? And, like Brother Anthony Browder said, your identity is the biggest secret ever kept, family. And that's what I'm trying to do, enlighten my people. You got niggas wearing Jews, and you got niggas like me dropping Jews. And so I just want to be an inspiration to my people in a positive way. I done seen the negativity, but I choose positivity and to make a good difference. And so that's what I'm trying to do on tonight. And before we get out of here, I just want to, again, bring up my banners, right? Anybody who wants to show support and make donations to Omnis Mature 360 LLC family for more content. If you guys enjoyed the presentation and the bill, I really appreciate your time. And feel free to have some input as well. I like coming on camera, building, doing my little 1-2. But I like, I like building with the people as well. So that's what it's about. I ain't trying to tear y'all down. Hopefully y'all ain't trying to tear me down. Hopefully we can build each other up. And that's what it's about. PayPal/@LaceyJones1. All right. The Nature Guide. This is the tag so you can show your love and your support for what we've been doing for 7+ years. I can't believe I've been doing this that long, man. It's crazy. But yeah, family, 2025, keep your eyes and your ears open, family. Like I said, eyes to see, ears to hear, and minds to think. You feel me? Minds to think, family. We have those senses so we can calculate, so we can pay attention to what's around us. You feel me? And if you don't use your sight, if you don't use your hearing, you will go out here and get into a wreck, family. You can go out here and fall down and just miscalculate your steps and hurt yourself. So calculation is important. Paying attention and using your intelligence is a medium that God gave us. And so, it's a new time. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm just saying that the world is changing. And when nature speaks, the world will listen. It will demand your attention from whatever you're doing. I know man is leading us this way, but nature is leading us this way. You feel me? I know man got its way of doing things, but nature got its way of doing things. And so the story, it reminds me of the story of Moses and Pharaoh in Exodus. When Moses had the staff and Pharaoh had the little magician snakes, and then you had one snake eat the little snake, the two of the little snakes, and it's like the lesser God would challenge the real God. But the real God will be the one who stands in the end, be the one who, will succeed in the end, family. So that's how I look at it. Like, you got the fake God, you got the real God. And I don't feel like there's not too many, you know what I'm saying? Can't be nature, family. Nature is why we exist. And so no matter what your religion is, we all need oxygen to breathe. You feel me? It's just a natural law to live, to exist, to coexist in this grand scale of universal, coexistence, family. And so anyway, I ain't gonna hold y'all all night. I appreciate you for your time. Love and light. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Salute. Peace and blessings.